Welcome to your magic moon message. This is the peace dealer. And we made it at the end of this Aries cycle. Sun is 28 degrees Gemini, and we're going to conclude the season tomorrow with a 29-degree moon in Aries and 29-degree sun in Gemini. So we started the new moon transit with, of course, the 0-degree conjunction, or let me change that, with the conjunction that happened in Gemini, moon in Gemini, sun in Gemini, and that conjunction was a 0-degree angle, initializing the update we do every year in this context to revisit the expansion of our mindset that Jupiter began last year, May. Okay. And now we're ending this cycle off after the integration through the moon in Virgo and then the harvest through moon in Sagittarius. We have completed out of the moon in Pisces, which have now taken this initial base perspective. And if you think about what Gemini is, it aligns with the third house of your mindset and attitude, initializing throughout the rest of the cycle, because Gemini is the introduction, along with Aries and Taurus, the unconscious uncompetence that will eventually become unconscious competence in Pisces season. So by the time the moon was in Pisces, we have gained a fuller understanding of what beliefs we have completed in alignment with new thoughts. All right. So for the new moon in Gemini, I just accepted what I have been affirming Aries season, Taurus season, and relative to who I am and what I'm worth. And that's, I'm a sexy, chocolate, handsome motherfucker. Okay. And, in being so sexy and just having this amazing aura, the sexual nature that just makes people weak at the knees, I had to really account for the effect of my own sexiness. And that led to Gemini season, where I just talk to myself like I'm the sexiest man alive. Oh, I'm so sexy. You so sexy, peace dealer. Oh, I made sure to exaggerate it to the point that it feels delusional, with which to shift out of an old mindset for some weird reason. If I ever thought that I wasn't sexy, can you imagine me not being sexy? This is ridiculous. So I made sure to rewrite my mental programming and align every thought based off of that. Then the moon went into Virgo, and we were hit with that first reality check where it's like, okay, I think I'm sexy, but when I go out in public, right, certain people may feel like, oh, you look a little dusty, you look a little crusty. Now that did not stop me from understanding that I'm sexy as fuck. Okay. But I understand that, when you integrate socially with other people from the outside looking in, you have conflicting perspectives. So instead of being in denial, for the purpose of this example, now I am adjusting my behavior to match what I already think about myself. So I'm putting, I'm grooming myself. I'm putting on lip balm so that I can, in reality, align with my thought to being sexy. And then the moon went into Sagittarius, and that's where it's no longer time to just think you're sexy. Now you're showing you're sexy. The harvest of the full moon in Sagittarius showed you the meaning of the idea you cultivated over the past 2 weeks from the full moon. So this is where I'm not just thinking I'm sexy, I'm strutting my stuff like, yeah, girl, you like the sexy chocolate, don't you? And she's like, oh my God, peace dealer. And they faint for me like Michael Jackson, because why wouldn't they? And now the moon is in Pisces, and now after developing this perspective, now I'm understanding my beliefs. And I've just always been sexy my whole life. I believe that there's no way I could ever not be sexy. I've completed the idea. Okay, so now the moon is in Aries. I'm applying this completion of perspective and belief to now the moon in Aries understanding of the root core of who I am, expressing this truth. And this is where now in the 11th house, right, as we enact this 300-degree signature, at the end of Aries. So we're still in the Capricorn signature, and I'm going to talk about that. But as we come into the Aquarius signature that's going to ground in Taurus, This is where now at that final level, you are understanding who you're meant to be around, what social circles or what areas of belonging you're meant to be around in order to facilitate this. I didn't plan this, but shout out to, of course, the Vision, videographer and artist out here in Las Vegas. I got introduced to him by a mutual friend. I think Maru, shout out Maru, if not someone else. But why that's important is he's doing a show tomorrow, on the 20th. He's dropping a new album, and we both Geminis. So I didn't realize until right now that I'm recording this video, where's the moon gonna be? At the end of Aries, we're gonna have that 11th house transit, and so now I am going into a venue where I'm going to be surrounded with other individuals who reflect this stuff I like to reflect. That's an 11th house aspect. It's a party, and that's what makes this as a reward. Your hopes and wishes. Now I'm going to be making connections and talking to people, you know what I'm saying, that align with who I think I am and where I'm going at present. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna link up with other sexy type people who are sexy like I'm sexy, basically. Okay, cool. By the way, the Death Tape is out on SoundCloud. For those of you, I know you guys don't respect SoundCloud or listen. Oh, you know what? SoundCloud isn't the way it used to be. I keep on thinking this is OG SoundCloud, where there's no ads. There's ads on everything now. All right, I take that back. But yeah, if you, it is on SoundCloud, free, available for download. This is a free mixtape, so I'm not gonna sell it. You can download every track on there. Show me some support. Other than that, the moon in Pisces, when the moon was at the very end of Pisces, that was where we triggered the Capricorn signature. So that's what completed this perspective. And as it goes through all of Aries, the individual actions you will understand you are taking to complete this thought process are actions you're understanding that are having you accomplish what it is you started with the new moon. So that's what you want to look at throughout the rest of this Gemini season: accomplishments and rewards. Of course, in 2 days, the sun's going to go into Cancer, and then we're going to have the conjunction that's going to square Saturn and Neptune. So this is really dope. And that's where, with the moon in Aries, we have finally initialized the activation of this reimagination of yourself. Let's explain. Over the next 20 years, from 2024 up until 2044, humanity is going to be awakening extremely. I call it the corruption of humanity, but it's also going to awaken humanity as well. Now, Pluto in Aquarius, the last 2 times it was there, we had the Protestant Revolution. And then the last time it was there, we had the French Revolution, as well as every other revolution before and after that. All right, give or take with a few years. So this time it's there. We have like crazy technological revolutions. We have political instability and damn near war. War isn't necessarily uncommon. Like, war happens throughout most parts of history. But we want to look at the Pluto Aqua state of that as every 28 days, right, for the next 20 years. And then every 365 days with the sun, every January, February for the next 20 years, we're going to activate this this Pluto in Aquarius axis, awakening the supernatural, awakening more progressive humanitarian themes. And let me not say progressive, because it's really extreme and revolutionary. But now we have Neptune in Aries. Neptune hasn't been in Aries since literally the dawn of America's first civil war in the 1800s, as it takes like 165 years to transit. So this is the first time it's been there since then. It's going to be in Taurus 2034. So we have this in here, 2037 or 2039. So we have this in here for 14 years. So every year for 14 years, we're going to activate the Sun-Neptune transit, reimagining our identity. It's collective. This is a generational transit. It'd be interesting what children are born with this. That being said, every 28 days for the next 14 years, the moon will conjunct Neptune. For the next 2.5 years, it's going to be joined with Saturn until it moves into Taurus. But then Neptune's still going to be in Aries. So the moon has conjuncted Neptune so far 3 times. The first time in Aries season 2 months ago, that was when I took some acid. Amazing experience. Shout out to you, Gabriel. Pisces put me on. The second time was, and the crazy thing about that is I didn't plan it that way, but when I made that video, you can go back to that video, it was the sun and moon in Aries. I was like, yeah, if it wasn't the Taurus one, but I think it was the sun and moon in Aries, I was like, yeah, this transit is gonna be like taking an LSD tab and tripping. And then later that night, the dude had it. You feel me? Like, you can't make that shit up. And then the second time was when the sun was in Taurus, and now this is the third time. Aries, Taurus, Gemini is the activation quadrant. It is the first part of the movie. It's when you are defining who you are, unconsciously incompetent to, of course, the conflict that's going to raise and the stuff that you have to overcome by the end of the movie or the climax. So at this point, we have finally activated this process of reimagining with Saturn the totality of who you are relative to a whole previous cycle that got you to this point. So Moon on Neptune, now that the sun is in Gemini, is not only facilitating this final part of activation to give you now an idea of what to begin to communicate around transpersonal elements of your very being that are not entirely tangible and able to put into words, but to now also come into a direct experience intellectually to now prepare the way moving forward in order to, of course, transcend the function of who you are and how you take individual actions to reflect that. The moon is going to help you understand this, but you'll start to hear its whisper because of this Gemini arc. Now that Jupiter is out of Gemini, it is deepening its waters and pool in Cancer, and that's what's going to create this pressure cooker that will challenge your identity and how you feel about who you are and your integration of that socially towards other people. All right, so with that being said, as the moon completes this Capricorn signature, take note of the authenticity of your actions and how that is completing your mindset. All right, I'm not going to do anything that doesn't reflect my innate sexiness because I'm too sexy to do that. I don't care if that makes sense to you. I'm sexy. See how this does not follow a linear logical model? You can. You're just boring. But you can have fun with it too, or you could do both. So there you go. Mars has entered analytical, finicky, picky Virgo. So no detail is going to be left unturned. And a lot of people, listen, this is word from Virgo. I'm going to translate Virgo. Shout out to my Virgos, okay? Yeah, I don't got the crusty. Yeah, what's up, Virgo? Shout out to the Virgos. This is what Virgo said. You motherfuckers was talking shit. This is Virgo, not me. You motherfuckers was talking shit since Gemini. I'm about to go pull receipts because Mars and Virgo remembered everything y'all said, and it's researching how unfactual half of the shit y'all said with like so much passion and conviction and confidence was never. And of course, those who did the research, now Mars and Virgo is going to confirm analytically through these actions socially how you were on point. So it's easy to kind of be worried about Virgo. Virgo just wants to make sure you're on point. And it'll ruthlessly like criticize you until you are, because we don't do those fake facts. So the passion, the boldness through Leo that had, you stand on your 10 toes and stand up for what you believe is now supporting that passion with hard, cold analysis, having you move strategically moving forward. And Mercury in Cancer making a 60-degree opening sextile to Venus in Taurus is emotionally and empathically communicating the grounded values that your heart is polishing. I hate to say emotional intelligence because you can't measure an EQ, but you're going to really, in unspoken ways, tap into the nuance of what's not said, the emotions behind what's being said, and how Venus, once again, you're communicating that natural groundedness of this value, all right, of this worth. So that's all I got for today. This is going to be definitely very fiery, and the moon on Neptune and Saturn gives you a total transcendent understanding of ways with which you can transcend your feeling of who you are. Get ready to communicate that. Until next time, peace.